Hey friends, this is Angela from Art of Creation Homestead again. Welcome to our kitchen. And today we are going to be kicking off a series. Now hopefully I will be able to post at least one recipe a week in this series. This series is called What to Do with All These Eggs. Because those of you who have chickens, even if it's for the first time, when it hits this time of year, you start to have more eggs than you know what to do with. So in this series, I'm going to be doing recipes to show you what to do with all those eggs. It's not just going to be breakfast casseroles and breakfast sandwiches and breakfast everything. There's a lot of great recipes that you can use a lot of eggs with. And I'm going to show you how to do those. Now, if you don't have your own chickens and you're not going through that problem, still stay tuned to this series because you're going to learn a lot of great recipes. Because eggs are a great, cheap protein and also a great ingredient in anything. So what we're going to do today is coconut cream pie. This pie right here is probably one of my mom's very favorite pies that I make. Although she does like my chocolate cream pie and my butterscotch pie as well. Which if you guys want to see me do those, leave a comment below telling me that you want to see those. And if so, I will do them for you. But today we're going to do coconut cream pie. And this is also my father-in-law's favorite. And anytime my mother-in-law and father-in-law come in from out of town, I have these pies waiting for my father-in-law. We're going to start here with 2 cups of sweetened shredded coconut. See? It's just regular old sweetened shredded coconut. Now, I know this looks like a lot more than 2 cups. It is. I'm making 2 pies today. But I'm showing you how to make one. All the ingredients that my oven's ready. All the ingredients that I am showing you is just for one pie. But I'm going to toast all the coconut at one time because that's the key to making my coconut cream pie so different than everyone else's and so much better is I'm going to toast the coconut that goes in the pie. The toasting makes all the difference. You get such an amazing flavor from it. So what we're going to do, you want to spread the coconut out. 2 cups of coconut. You want to spread it out on a cookie sheet. I have mine lined with parchment paper. You can line it or not line it. It's just easier if you line it. I have it spread out and as close to a single layer as I can get it. And I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. Now I'm going to take this and pop it into the oven. Now you want to keep a very close eye on it because it's going to, you're going to start noticing a few flakes here and there on the bottom starting to brown really quickly. So you want to constantly stir it, constantly turn it. And then as it gets closer to being fully toasted, you will probably want to check it every couple of minutes and give it a toss. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's fully toasted. You can also choose to toast your coconut in a dry hot skillet as well. But I personally think I can control it better in an oven. It goes slower. It tends to go really fast in a dry hot skillet. I almost forgot to tell you. You will also need a pie crust. A deep dish pie crust. Now, if you want to make your own, make your own. If you want to use store-bought, use store-bought. Today, I didn't have time to make my own. So I took a little help from the store. And you know what? That's just fine. It's, honestly, there's no judgment here. If you have time to make a homemade pie crust, go right ahead. If you don't, take a little help from the store. So you want to take that pie crust, bake it off according to package directions, according to your recipe directions, and set it aside to cool. Okay, as you can see, your coconut is nice and toasted now. I know this takes a little extra time to do this. It takes about 10 minutes extra, but you will be glad you did. It makes all the difference in this pie. Honestly, it makes a difference between a good coconut cream pie and an excellent coconut cream pie. So, as you can see, I pulled it off when it's still lightly toasted. As it sits just from the heat in it, it's going to continue to toast. So you want to pull it out when it gets to this point. So now you want to go ahead and pull it off. That's the reason I lined it, so you can easily pull it off the pan to cool, because you don't want to leave it on that hot pan, because it's going to continue to toast and may burn while you're making your filling instead of cooling, because that's what you want it to do right now. You want it to cool. Here we have a heavy bottom pot. You want a nice heavy bottom pot. I'm using stainless steel. And there's several ways to do this part, but I'm going to teach you my way. This is quicker. You may have to babysit it a little more. You may have to keep it moving, keep stirring it, but it is a quicker way of doing it, a less fussy way of doing it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put in 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. I'm using pure cane sugar. We're going to put in 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch. I'm using non-GMO cornstarch. That's just our preference. Now I'm going to take a whisk and I'm going to whisk those two together. That way the sugar works as an abrasive to break up any lumps in your cornstarch. So now we're going to add 2 1/4 cups of cold milk. This is whole milk. You can use 2%, you can use 1%, but your pie won't be as rich. So now we're going to switch to a rubber spatula. A silicone spatula. You don't have to use a silicone spatula. You can just use a spoon. But in my opinion, you can scrape down the sides and the bottom much better with a silicone spatula. Now mix that in just a little bit. Now, contrary to what most people have seen, I'm going to go ahead and add my eggs. My egg yolks, excuse me. I'm adding my 3 egg yolks. And I'm going to mix those in, break up the yolks. And at this point, I'm going to switch back to my whisk to get those whisk in real good. That way there's no clumps. So you want to whisk those in really good. Now your pie filling, if you don't have fresh eggs, your pie filling may not be as orange as this is. Which you probably can't see just how orange it is, but our girls eat well. Now, you're going to want to turn your heat on medium-low, which if you have numbers, that's about a 3. And you're going to want to keep this moving. You're going to want to keep stirring. Now I've switched back to my silicone spatula. I keep wanting to call it a rubber spatula, but it's really not rubber, it's silicone. And you're going to want to keep this moving, because it can stick to the bottom. It can scorch really bad because of the milk, and it can burn because of the sugar. So you want to keep this moving. It really won't take that long for it to start getting thick, because you've already mixed in your eggs, you've already mixed in your cornstarch. It's not going to take it that long to actually start getting thick on you. Basically just in the time that it takes to heat it up, that's all it's going to take. Now you want to keep an eye on it. If it starts to seem like it's taking way too long, then you may want to up your heat to medium, but you will have to stir it a lot more vigorously if you do it at medium to make sure that it does not burn. And we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like when it starts to get thick. We're starting to thicken up, as you can see. When you run your spatula across the bottom, you start to get some solid there. At this point, you want to switch back to your whisk and you want to keep it moving, because it's going to get thick really quick at this point. So you're already starting to get nice and thick. Keep it moving. And you're going to get a nice, thick, rich consistency. So you want to keep this moving. And it's going to start leaving trails, your whisk trails, in the pudding as you can see, we're almost there. See, we're almost there. We're getting nice and thick. And now we want to turn off our heat, which I did end up turning up to medium. And it's going to start popping. See, when you do that, and it doesn't run back on itself, that's when it's ready. Now you want to get it off the heat. And we're going to add all the goodness to it now. Get your whisk out now. And at this point, you want to stir it around, give it a good stir. And now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, just to richen it up a little. And you're going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. At this point, you could also add about a half a teaspoon of coconut extract if you want more coconut flavor. But the toasted coconut adds a whole lot of coconut flavor. You want to add, I told you to toast 2 cups of coconut. Leave behind 1/4 of a cup for the topping, because you really want that extra little crunch on top. So you want to add about 1 3/4 cups of your coconut, of your beautiful toasted coconut over here. And you want to stir that in. You want to stir in that beautiful toasted coconut. You want to melt the butter into it. And it smells so good because of that, but because of toasting that coconut. It makes all the difference, I'm telling you. It brings out all that beautiful coconut flavor. Toasting the coconut makes all the difference in the world. Now your butter's almost melted. Now we're going to pour it into our pre-baked pie shell. Or pie crust, whichever you call it. Which do you call it? Do you call it a pie shell or a pie crust? Probably depends on where you're from. Now any extra in there, you get to eat it. So you want to smooth out the top. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick, because we've got to chill this now before we put the topping on. And I will be back later and show you the topping after this is chilled. But this has to chill. So what you want to do, because any pudding pie like this, if you just put it in the refrigerator just like it is, it has a tendency to get a skin on the top. I personally don't like that skin. Some people like it. I personally don't like that skin. So what you want to do, you want to take a piece of plastic wrap and you want to lay it flat. You want to push it down flat on top of your pudding. Make sure there's no air pockets in there. If you see an air pocket, raise it up, get the air pocket out. Lay it down flat on your pudding, on the top of your pie. And that will keep you from getting that skin on top. Now, we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let it chill for about anywhere from 2 to 4 hours until it's nicely chilled and nicely set up. And then I'll show you what we do for the topping. Okay, it's been a few hours now and the pie is fully chilled. And the trick that I told you about the plastic wrap pressed right down on top, you're now going to see that it worked. See, there's no skin on top of the pie now. So now you have the dilemma of how you're going to top this pie. You can always use the egg whites from the egg yolks that you put in your pie and make a meringue. Well, today it's been kind of overcast most of the day, and that's not a very good conducive atmosphere for making good meringue. It usually won't work on days like that. But that's no sweat. You can also top it in several other ways. What I'm choosing to top it with today is some fresh whipped cream. If you don't know how to do that, you just whip it with an electric mixer with a little bit of powdered sugar and a little bit of vanilla, and you've got, until it's stiff, and you've got homemade whipped cream. See? If you don't want to go that route, you can use Cool Whip, or you can spray on some Ready Whip. There's no shame in it. Or if you don't want to top it, you don't have to top it. So we're going to put this fresh whipped cream on top of the pie. And then after you spread your whipped cream around, you want to cover most of your pie filling with your whipped cream. And then remember that extra toasted coconut that I told you to reserve? That's to go on top of your pie to make it pretty. And also, it's not just really to make it pretty, it also adds that little extra crunch that the toasted coconut has. So it's kind of a texture thing as well. Not just a prettiness thing, it's kind of a texture thing as well. And there's your beautiful coconut cream pie. Now, when it comes dessert time, hopefully we can bring Jason in here and get him to taste it.
Alright, so now I was told that I could have a piece of pie if I give an honest review. Alright? You get those little things that we'll give you this product for an honest review. That's what I was told, so we'll see. So I got me a hillbilly bite. Alright, I get you a good hillbilly bite. No. Delicious. Outstanding. I bet my dad won't come eat a piece of pie all the way from North Carolina. But fantastic. Great use of a bunch of eggs. Turn the eggs into something good to eat for Easter, for a Tuesday, whatever day it is. Doesn't matter.
It's a great Easter dessert.
But it is a great Easter dessert. It really is. So I appreciate you guys watching. My name is Jason. The magical hand is Angela K. We love you guys. God bless you and goodbye.